Jazzcast Pros.
Welcome to The Spiritual Shortcut, the podcast to help you realize that you are in fact your own healer and that you can learn to release the invisible anchors that might have been holding you back.
Hi, my name's Kristy.
And I'm Amanda.
And we are the two psychic nobodies, and we are here today to have a conversation.
Yep, we're going to go through the basics of what we do in our shamanic work.
Yeah, so we've had some questions come up from listeners, haven't we, Amanda?
Yeah, we have, which is awesome. So, yeah, thank you for the feedback and the questions because, like you were saying before, Kristy, our mentor says, I've been doing this work for such a long time. It's just second nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
In conversations that you and I have, we end up kind of bouncing into shamanic work without even realizing it. So it might be funny for people to listen into one of our conversations one day. Just a normal, regular chat. But, yeah, we love it if people ask questions. So, yeah, I want to encourage people to do that for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing. If there's things coming up for the listener, if we can shed some light on it, it then makes all of this much easier to understand, you know. And again, we come back to that word of demystifying, demystify the work. Yeah, but we had a beautiful girlfriend of mine reach out and ask a question of what is a channel?
When I say I'm in my channel, it's twofold for me, right? So part of it is acknowledging that I'm consciously shifting into opening myself up to my guides and asking them for connection. So it's that shift, but it's also, it's like being in a zone.
Yeah.
More than, like, it certainly isn't a physical place.
No, it's definitely not a physical place. And I find this one tricky to answer. And even though I've spent a long time thinking about the best way to put words around it, I think it's still going to be a mouthful. Because for me these days, I'm never not doing this work. I've had to learn to put boundaries around it, obviously, but I can honestly say that I am now walking in my world doing this work. And some days, you know, it's smooth sailing and I'm clearing spaces that I'm in and I'm clearing stuff, you know, big stuff for me personally. And then other days it's I need to sit down and have some time away and go within to process something or pick it apart. But essentially, being a channel is shamanically what we refer to as being a hollow bone. So if you think about the bone of maybe a bird, like I always think of the eagle, where you have that solid, the actual bone part, and then inside it's hollow, right? Because they have to fly and can't be too heavy. But I always think of that. It's like the more that we clear physically, energetically, emotionally, which is essentially in my mind all the same things, the more pure our bone, if you will, becomes. So the clearer the answers come through.
And the less there are impurities cluttering our minds, because when things come through, they come through for a reason.
Yeah.
And if I've done all my work, or as much of it as I can,
yeah,
then I know that the work, that the information that's coming through pertains to the question I've asked, or pertains purely to the client in front of me, or pertains to the exact situation I'm in right at that moment.
Yeah, so there's less distortion.
Yeah, and it also means that because, for example, if I haven't done a certain amount of work, and something I'm presented with a situation that is difficult for me, it's maybe uncomfortable, it's a challenge, I don't know how to exactly to respond to this person in front of me, for example, then I am bringing with me other information in from past experiences.
Mm.
And they are going to color my response to this person.
Yeah.
So when I've done that work, there isn't that background noise
Yeah.
that's altering the way that I see what's in front of me.
Yeah. And then a good further explanation of that is, a shamanic practitioner, we are that bridge between, the 3D human aspect of this life and the energetic world. And we're able to take answers from that energetic world and information from that energetic world and bring it into this human reality, right? That's our job.
Yep. So the clearer we can be, the better we are at our job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Putting it really super simply.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we're in our channel, when we're doing this work, what does it look like, feel like, sound like? What's the experience? So I know for you, you have clear sight.
Yeah.
You see visions.
I do. I do see
Yeah.
visions, and it can be anywhere from. Do you remember on Netflix there was a show, The Queen's Gambit, and she was a chess genius, and
Yeah.
she would lay in bed at night and see the actual game up on the ceiling, and she would have strategies presented to her. She would have like the whole thing,
Gambit.
the whole gambit up on the ceiling. For me, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it comes through, like I've had times where any reflective surface is a place for information. For a while there, I was getting a lot of information in the shower, up on the foggy screens. My visual sight, and again, this is another thing that I struggle to put words around, but I have learnt how to, over the last however many years this has been happening to me, interpret what I'm seeing to gain clarity as to what my guides are trying to tell me.
Yeah.
So certain things in my environment I will interpret in certain ways, and my guides know exactly what to show me to give a clear message, right?
So when you say your guides are showing you, and I know this because we a little bit share this as well, suddenly you'll be talking and your attention is just randomly drawn to something in the room.
Yeah.
A certain part of a pattern on a lamp or a painting or something like that. And it's interesting because we talk about we don't really use tools very much, and which is quite true. However, in a lot of ways, that is exactly it, because when I look at any time that I do tarot readings, for example, or oracle card readings, I usually don't, there's certain cards mean certain things and that's okay, but more often than not, I'll actually look at the picture and find out where I'm drawn to on that card.
That's exactly how it comes through for me too. And I've tried to learn tarot in the proper way. I've even done short courses on it.
Same.
And I just cannot learn how to do it. I can't remember the cards. I can't
oh my God, I'm the same. I'm like, I had a set that I actually wrote on the back exactly what they meant. So because I needed to refer to them. And in the end, I'm like, this is not working.
No.
Just look at the pictures. Oh my God, there's a little rabbit. What do rabbits do? Okay, this is what they mean.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and it's a process that has become refined over the years. So instantly now, generally, I can get information. Colors too. My guides use a lot of colors. And because you and I do a lot of work at that heart space, I get a lot of different shades and textures of green. Yeah. And then, like there's a whole range, like I have the whole range going on back here. So taste, it will just be generally, it will come on within seconds. I will acknowledge it. I will figure out what they're saying to me, and then it will go away. But also my body, like I just pick up on things in my body. Like, one side is for the feminine, one side is for the masculine. Feet are always, grounding stuff and being rooted. And, there's stuff to do with the crown, and connection is always around the head. So there's basic stuff and basic places in my body that I know that when the guides are working there or showing me something there, I know exactly what they mean. So it's just, I think essentially what you and I have done is worked hard to understand the language that our guides communicate in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also another thing that I find I have is I often need to just start talking.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm about to say. It's just that flow of energy and ideas just pop into my head.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's difficult because I'm very politely waiting for you to finish your part of the conversation or part of, your idea that you've had. And because it comes thick and fast, I often lose that momentum. So it's a dance, really, where we're juggling and dancing and moving in between the two different energies and the ways that we do that. And this is what we speak to actually in our shamanic training. We learned about how the hollow bone will move from person to person.
Yeah.
Because part of the training that we did when we did our practitioner level was as a group doing healings. We didn't do them on our own until we'd finished our mentorship.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's worked really well for us because it means that we've learned pretty well, we work well together. So part of it is we've learned quickly to do that, but of course we're probably always meant to work together, so it was always going to work.
And I will say there's more of an element of it being a dynamic back and forth rather than just that more static one person. Do you know what I mean? Because whilst you are getting all of this information, exactly what you just spoke to, you have to be aware not only of your client but also of the other practitioner and how to bring it. Yeah, so it's been like a bachelor of shamanic training, which has been really cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes we have clients, don't we, that sit in front of us that experience very similar ways of, reading their body and what comes in, and with high levels of intuitive thought. And you and I are very open with all of our clients. Like if something comes through that you need to share, like you feel like this is pertinent to the reading, then just put your hand up, tell us to shut up. Like we'll take that in as well. And again, that's another element of it being a dynamic space that goes back and forth and builds upon itself, right?
Yeah. Because we do a lot of those statements where one of us will make a statement and the client will repeat it. And if they happen to have a similar gift, so similar to mine, for example, when they start talking, it's suddenly going to start coming through.
Yeah.
So, it's important to realize that and be like, okay, well, you don't have to just say what Amanda or Kristy told you to say or, repeat exactly. You can just add to it and you can make up your own and allow what needs to come through to come through.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question that was asked was, what can be achieved with this work? Oh my God. What can't be? Right? It's like the possibilities are endless because we live within the scope of endless possibilities. Like you are only limited to what you think. And then like you and I have just learned, what we think is so much more smaller and more minute than what we know at a deep soul level.
Yeah.
So what kind of things have you dealt with a lot in sessions on your own? Maybe that's a good place to start.
A lot of reparenting. So that can be inner child work, inner teen work, but it's also understanding that at some point the adult needs to step in and do the adult stuff. So resetting of appropriate roles in one's life. How many people there's what is it, the parentified daughter is a little catchphrase I've only learned like fairly recently. And so, you know, there are these people that are adults that never had a proper childhood because they had to be adults when they were children. I don't know how you're supposed to be adulting when you're 6.
Yeah.
But people have done it. And then they're supposed to be healthy, functional adults that haven't had a childhood.
Yeah.
Don't know how they do it either. Because, you know, like if your childhood is one where you've been brought up in an environment where you've had to fight for love or you've had to be a certain way, which everyone has, to get what you think you need in your life, then every relationship, until you heal that, is going to be reflective of that environment.
Yeah.
So reparenting is something I've used it a lot, whether it's in shamanic practice, coaching, counseling, all the therapies that I've done.
Yeah. Have you seen consistency in how that shows up physically in someone's life?
Maybe not consistent as in everyone has the same ailment.
Yeah.
But consistency as in everyone has an ailment of some kind.
Yeah, okay.
And what I've learned time and time again is that if you do the work, when you have a physicality that's not okay, you know, a disease or an illness or whatever it is, an injury, always something is sitting beneath that. And when you heal that thing, then, you know, that trauma or get reparented or whatever it is, then your body is able to heal itself, because ultimately the body is the messenger.
Yeah.
So if the messenger is saying, you know, like, I've got this disease because of this harm that you've gone through as a child or younger years or whenever it was, or this grief that you've experienced, this massive loss in your life, then that needs to be dealt with before the body is capable of doing its actual work, because we can heal our own selves no matter what it is. Like, this is a closed unit that is capable of healing itself. You know, like, so what has shown up, I guess, a lot is people being overweight, especially women. It's such a great way to protect yourself, right? It's a nice cushioned protective layer around your whole body.
Yeah.
And it might mean for some women, I'm not attractive anymore, so stay away. And there's lots of different reasons, but even myself with my own weight loss, I had to do the work first, because no amount of diets would work until the underlying reasons were addressed. Once they were addressed, then I could go and do the work, and that started to work.
Yeah.
So I still had to go through the process of refining my physical foods intake, doing the exercise, all that kind of thing. But in the past, it hadn't worked.
Yeah.
So one thing came before the other.
Yeah. So essentially, all of that stuff is scaffolding around the wound, and the wound won't. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's like sometimes when you address the wound direct on, but then you don't have those extra layers of support, it's not going to work either. And for you, you had to put all of that extra support around yourself to go and zoom in on what the wound was.
Yeah. And then once the wounding was healed, then the processes and the structure that I had in place actually started working like it never had worked before.
Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah. And see, most of the work that I've done has been with women, you know, between 30 and say 50. And the predominant issues that I have addressed and coached women with have been quite big, heavy traumas, lots of assault cases, lots of sexual abuse, lots of, divorce because of DV. And it's really not that different, is it? It's like there's been quite a few clients that I've had say to me, I have done mainstream counseling and this still seems to be showing up in my life. Or I have done, I've gone off, I've done all the counseling. I still don't even know what the problem is, but I still feel X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So I guess this is where working at that deep point that you and I are able to get through.
Right. But it's not just that. It's everything. Like, this is why I love what we've done, because we've combined it with coaching. The shaman in you gives you a big picture, and that's that psychic aspect to what we do. But then we have all this knowledge and training behind us and experience in front of clients where we can go, oh, well, this is what it looks like in your life. And this is what it can look like. And here are the things that you can do to make this change and to make the change last. Because change is fine, but it needs to be lasting change, right?
Yeah, it needs to be embodied change. And like we're saying, you need to embody the shift at that core level, but then you also need to embody those layers and scaffolding of support that are around you, and then trust that you've done enough and walk in the world knowing that you've done this work and you are actually a different, more evolved version of yourself.
Yeah, that's right. I think we can talk about more next time.
Yeah, I think that was amazing, actually. It was a lot of information in a very short amount of time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's good, right? Like, you and I have set out to achieve a few podcasts that really break everything down. So having people reach out and ask questions is really ideal. So if you're out there, you're listening, and you have a question that's, you are really keen to hear the answer to, please email us. You'll find our details in the show notes, and we will endeavor to answer it for you.
What if people want to work with us?
It's easy. You can just click the link on the website, right?
Yep, there is a booking link. Yep.
Yeah. So, and, to add on even further to that, if you are intrigued, just have a go. There's nothing frightening, scary. Again, this is another thing that we are trying to break down the myth of, that this work is, only for select people, or
we are just this silly in a session.
Yeah, we're not scary. And we both have personally and professionally dealt with really big situations. So it's not awkward unless you make it awkward, which we do our best not to make it awkward.
Exciting. We are developing and putting together a 3-month coaching program. Yeah. So there'll be a couple of deep healings, some integration sessions, some one-on-ones or 2-on-1, 2 of us and 1 of you. Mm-hmm. Cacao, intention setting ceremonies and circles, and group coaching. So building a nice, close-knit community with some other of our clients, so that you can not feel so alone on a healing journey, right?
Yeah, well, essentially what we're trying to do is recreate the incredible support that you and I have been able to gift to each other in our time of need. So what better way, after we have both walked through it, than to gift it to other people? Yeah, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about it when it happens too.
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the latest episode of The Spiritual Shortcut.
We'll be back on the first and third Sunday of each month to unpack, demystify, and occasionally make fun of all things spiritual.
Starting with ourselves.
Of course.
Don't forget, those life blocks you've been tripping over are just poorly disguised stepping stones.
We'll support you to laugh, leap, and maybe even do a little victory dance over them. See you soon. Spring cleaning, Forget waiting for the perfect season, because the best time to declutter is now. In this episode, we're breaking down why seasonal decluttering doesn't always work, how to let go of just-in-case thinking, and simple habits to keep clutter from creeping back in. Subscribe to Declutter Empress Radio on the Jazzcast Pros Network, available right here on the podcast player you're listening to right now. New episodes every last Tuesday of the month.